Alrighty, hi everyone, and welcome to the Teach Your Child Anything podcast. My name is Sigal, and I'm so happy to have with me a good friend named Erez Weinstein. Hi, Erez, good to have you.
Hi, Sigal. Pleasure
Uh,
to be here.
I've been contemplating inviting Erez to the podcast for quite some time to discuss Teach Your Child financial literacy and investments because Erez is very passionate about that. Let me tell you a little bit about Erez. Erez is originally from Israel. Like me, he's been living in the U.S. since 2008. He is an entrepreneur. That today his main focus is short-term vacation rentals, and we'll hear about that from him and other travel-related projects. He is a full-time traveler with his family for almost 3 years, and actually Erez and Shirley have been our mentors into the world of full-time traveling, and we are forever grateful for that. And he is a full-time dad to Itai and Ella, his beautiful children. So without further ado, Erez, let's jump into talking about financial literacy and investments. How are you today? Why don't you share with us a little bit where you are broadcasting from?
We're right now it's South Padre Island in Texas, which is almost the most southern point in Texas. It's beautiful here. It's by the beach. We're having fun, and there's just down the road is the SpaceX launch pad where they're launching starships from, which we got to see, and hopefully there's another one next week, which is amazing experience. And we're just having fun here. We love it here. There's probably 30, 40 other families here as well. So
Really?
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've been following your experience with the spaceships. What an amazing childhood you are gifting your children. So just
It
amazing,
is.
amazing to watch. And for all of you who want to follow their journey, Zula Life is their blog on Facebook, but we'll get back to it at the end. And also, Erez will share other ways to follow them. So I want to share with the listeners and the viewers how this conversation stemmed, where it stemmed from. So originally, I posted a thread, a conversation, a discussion in the Teach Your Child Anything group on Facebook, and I asked, "What do you guys think the rich teach their children?" And I want to share with you a few of the answers that came up, and then we're going to discuss Erez's answer as well. So give me a second. Okay, so what subject skills do the rich make sure that their children learn? So some of the things that people have written are good table manners, appropriate for nicer restaurants, good posture, practice attending formal events, polite small talk, etiquette, how to connect and network, math, Mandarin and Arabic, and finance. Oh, somebody said finance. And then Erez came in, and this is some of what he wrote, and we'll dive deeper into that. And Erez, you wrote, there are 4 basic things you need to run a financially successful life. You need to be familiar with investment options and tools like the stock market, mortgages, loans, real estate, retail. It doesn't mean your kid has to understand it very well, but they need to hear it and know the options and how it works. So before we go deeper into that, let's talk a little bit about this, Erez, and maybe you could give us a little bit of an intro to how you see things and how to go about teaching financial literacy and investments, and why are these the things that you think children should learn? The stock market, mortgages, loans, real estate, retail.
Yeah. We're unschool, so our kids basically do what their passion leads them to and whatever their interest is. And it's not meaning we don't teach anything or there's no schooling involved at all, but it's mean that we kind of let them go and try a lot of things, new things, and whatever they want to dive into, they dive into, and whatever no, they don't, and it's fine. And we try to provide the tools and the environment for them to learn and to keep their minds sharp. And one of these, if you go to the first thing here that you just read, in my opinion, if you look at the difference, it's not even just rich people. Yeah, I don't like the term rich people or
Okay.
whatever. This is what I wrote, financial successful life, because rich with money is one thing, and not definitely always more the most noble goal and the most interesting goal, or whatever makes you happy in life. But you don't have to be super rich. But I think most people or everyone should have at least idea how to run financially successful life. Meaning how you build investment, how you don't only create work or create income from work, um, like you working, and that is the base of everything here. Kids and adults, and this started actually. This thinking started not just with kids. There are the problem with you see with a lot of adults as well that they're not familiar at all about the financial world and about financial options. They always, the rich, they have access to all kind of things and whatever. But most people have access to the same things in different levels, different opportunities, but especially in the United States,
Erez,
buying a house.
why do you feel that most people do not have this knowledge?
First of all, because nobody teach them that, and it's also engraved in regular schooling that the way to uh, live financially successful life is you do what you're told. You very good in certain subject, and then you go and work for someone for a big company for a lot of years, or you and or even just developing things, but nobody talks about passive income or what do you do with the money you do have, what opportunities do you have once you actually have a job. Okay, I have a job, I get a salary. That is one thing, but for example, anyone with a job, not even have to be an amazing job in the U.S., can probably buy a house. Most people don't think about it. They rent. They think it's so complicated. They don't know. I rode an Uber once with a very nice girl, and she's told me she's like don't know what to do. She's paying so much rent, and I'm like, why you have this job? She was also a manager at Walmart, and I'm like, why you don't buy a house? And back then it was in Decatur, Georgia, where houses were $80,000, $100,000 for okay houses, like not in super dangerous neighborhoods. What they were okay houses, and to buy $100,000 house in the U.S. with FHA loan, you can probably just all you need is $3,000 and some kind of salary. And most people like it, and we just talked about it for like in 20 minutes, and it blew her away. It's like I tell her like you buy a 3-bedroom house, you're gonna pay $500 instead of the $1,300 you pay right now, and you rent one room to a friend. They'll basically buy your house for you, and in 15 or 20 years you'll have a house. Plus you build your equity, but people don't know anything about it. For them, it's just something rich people do. Like you buy real estate or you invest in the stock market is it's beyond their world or their scope of their world, and you need to have a lot of money to do it. And I think that's the main issue. Nobody talk about passive income or investments in general. For many, many, many years, as well as today, everybody's talking about savings. You have to have your 401k. You have to save. You save for college. You save for saving is okay, but investment is better, much better if you want to advance yourself in life, if you want to build your wealth.
How did you discover the world of investments? Is this something that you were brought up to understand?
Um, Kind of. I'd say yeah. Like my father is an entrepreneur. My mother was always work for herself. And they had their own company, and we discussed those like investments and like putting some stuff in the stock market and buying properties. That was something that we were fortunate enough to
So
grow up in.
these were conversations that were had in the home?
Yeah, it was conversation that were had in the home, and even sometimes just jokes. Like my dad said, "Oh, every time I put my money in the stock market, it crashes." It was like a joke, But at least you like, oh, he does that. He takes money and he put it in the stock market, or we had our house that we bought, and then if someone when my sister got engaged or got married, then like, oh, you need to buy a house. and this is something you do. Um, but I don't. For me, I didn't go into the world of real estate investment very early in life. My dad did do, or my parents did do invest in real estate, but it wasn't much discussed, I'd say. But we knew it
Okay.
happening. But in Israel, everybody has to buy a house, right, to live in, which is usually, again, and even the U.S., that was the American dream, right? You're gonna buy your house in a suburb. Um, but buying the house you live in is, which is again something a lot of people just don't realize, it's not the best investment in the world. It's more of a liability if you live in that house. So any property you have or any stuff you have that doesn't pay you money um, is not an amazing investment. A house can be, the house that you live in can be a good investment with time, but it's not a pure investment. It's also a liability because
Right.
you use that product for your own. So in many cases, it's much better to rent a house and actually own a rental rather than live in the house you own. But
Okay. You talk about you need to promote risk taking and entrepreneurship with
yes.
children. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So the main reason we went out 3 years ago, we just decided, hey, we're just gonna travel full time, and it's because I was worried about school, and there's and what they teach them over there, which basically is you do what you're told. You have to be very good at it, and everybody has to be very good in the same things. Um, and I think what's missing, and especially in the world that our kids gonna, growing up into, um, being agile, being flexible, being able to do something with no guarantee or certainty um, is the most important tool. We cannot teach them anything they need to know. We definitely don't know how the future is going to look like. Um, so unless you are willing to or learn that there's no certain in life, there's no something you if you do that will happen, and which is what promoted for most people. This is what they know. Like if we do good at my job, I'm gonna be a manager one day. Or if I do good in school, I go to a good college. If I go to a good college, maybe I'll have a good job. So all this it's linear, like linearity of success. And we know today that it doesn't work like that at all.
Yeah.
Success is not linear. It's kind of a wave. You try, you fall, you try, you fall. Eventually, you do big things or not. But you have to recognize that, to realize the the way of life, and to promote yourself or to move forward, you have to be able to deal with the lows as you deal with the highs. Um,
So when you say teach your child risk taking in order to make them more resilient, more financially resilient, prepare them for the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life, how do you go about teaching risk taking or engaging in risk taking with your two children?
it can be very small things like when they want to do something, I tell them, yeah, let's do it, and then they're like, oh, we'll make a cake, okay? And Ella will come and like, oh, Dad, help me, Dad, measure that, and I like, no, you can do it, and it's fine, and and she does it, and then sometimes she's like, I don't know, or it fails miserably, and it's fine, because we always want to help our kids, we always want to make them happy,
Right.
um, but making your kid happy is also giving them independence and trust them. Um, and you can see it. You let a kid go from point A to B by themselves when, let's say, they're 9, and you're like, yeah, you can just go to the end of the street to buy Starbucks or whatever, or you can just ride your bikes in the neighborhood. They'll come back so happy. It's like it's amazing. And so by doing those things, like actually promoting them. I did, yeah, just go. You need to go. You need to do that, or even letting them to take the risk. This is how you start teaching it. And of course, as you know your kids best, there's no like, oh, my kid is 6 and he goes by himself to the grocery store, which doesn't happen in the U.S. But let's assume you can do it. And some kids need to be 12 before they can do it. So you need to know kind of where to, you put this trust, but you have to let go a little bit,
And let them
um,
fail and let them
and let
fail.
them and let them fail, and it's fine. And let them also, even when they try something, like for me, the kids, they sign up for something and they don't like it. So a lot of parents like say, oh, you have to do it. You sign up, you're gonna finish it. This is what you do. And I'm not like that. I will tell them, we'll sit, we're like, this is really horrible. Like, why do you don't wanna? This is another thing that I think we talked about in that's, you need to understand why stuff doesn't work, why you feel, how you feel about something, and why is failure happens. Which almost is as important as to fail. It's like why failure happens. So if you sign up something and it's not for you, you don't like it, you don't feel it, you want to quit, that's fine. I tell them, yeah, no, let's scratch it. I don't care. Like, you can quit as much as you want, but why? Why do you want to quit? Why it doesn't work for you? And that's uh, part of trying stuff, and we let them try multiple things, so they know they can sign up for something and quit. Again, because that's, I know some parents won't agree with me, but because perseverance is also important, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, to learn. But I
Right.
think in young age, you have to try things and then quit them, and it's fine. But as long as you understand why you do it.
So I like the way you analyze failure with them and try to figure out why they're feeling like this is not for them. I actually think that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome and a very important step in the process of, finding what works for you and what doesn't work for you as a child. So,
Or even why you're not good at something. It's
right.
and it's
Or why you
another thing
feel
that,
you're not good, right?
yeah. Sometimes you just feel you're not good at something. Sometimes you just
You're not
not
good.
good at something. It's
Yeah.
not for you, because
Yes.
million things. And sometimes when you think why you're not good at something, it will actually open a door of the things like you do like and you
Right.
do love,
I
and you're
like
like,
that.
okay, I'm not good at something because I don't like sitting in front of the computer screen, so coding is not for me. But what I like energy, I like new things, I like to run. All right, so maybe you'll try sports, or maybe you like something else. So it's very important to understand why something doesn't work for you.
I love that. And when one door closes, other ones open.
Yes,
And I really like that idea of us as parents being there, um,
yes.
to show
And
them
then
to
what?
show them the doors, right?
Yeah, and one thing I want to do, one exercise I do a lot with my kids, which I like it. It's an exercise. We do it like for fun, but when we go out, we sit in a restaurant, like in 2019, and so
Pre-pandemic, yes.
or in a lot of other things. I ask them what they like or don't like about the business we're in. So, or even when you watch SpaceX and it crashes, like the rocket, it's like, so why did it, how it can be better than just say why something fails? Because a lot of people concentrate on the failing. It's like it doesn't work. It sucks. It's not, the service is horrible, whatever. But how we can make it better, and those are mind benders that are great for kids. When you
So
see
what
a
do they say?
situation,
What do they say when you're sitting in a restaurant and you're saying, how do we, I was going to ask about this. How do we improve things? How do we fix things? What are you hearing them say? Or in a place of
it's
business or whatever.
yeah, it can be many things. Like we sat in a Waffle House, which is a high end restaurant in the U.S. And it was super cold. Like the AC was freezing, and Ella was complaining it's so freezing. Like, so why do you think, like, they probably know it? Like, we just told the waiters, and she says, no, we can't do anything about it. Like, why it's so cold? Why they don't change it? And she's like, oh, because it's an open kitchen, and all of them just sit there and they cook, and it's very hot for them. And if it's also can be very hot in the restaurant. And then we talk about, okay, what can we do? So maybe two sets of ACs. Maybe we can close that kitchen with something. And it was just an interesting conversation. How it can be better. She even said, they can give blankets to people, and when they go in.
That's
So
wonderful and
ideas,
creative. Yes.
a little ideas like what can be done to make something a little bit better. And it doesn't have to be an amazing improvement as well, which I think is another thing a lot of people concentrate on. It's like how we can make it a lot better. You can make stuff just a little bit better, and it's okay. So
Well,
stuff like that.
that's a
Um,
terrific idea. So going into a place of business or going into different situations and seeing how do we fix it, how do we improve it, get those wheels, I guess,
yeah,
working and thinking like an entrepreneur, right? And thinking like
yeah,
someone who can create positive change in the world
yeah.
around them.
And
So
there's a problem, there are solutions.
right. Problem solving and solutions. You said the third thing that you think that we should put an emphasis on is agility and being able to accept change. Do you find that parents invest in that skill with their kids? Do you find that kids and humans in general are able to accept change? Are we failing in this category, and what can we do better?
I think most of us failing at that. And the main reason we full time travel is that I wanted my kids to experience different things, and for ourselves too. We're super comfortable.
Yes.
We had very comfortable life back in Alpharetta, Georgia, like a nice house, and we have friends and big community, and it was okay. And but it was a boring, and b when you're very comfortable, change doesn't happen, improvement doesn't happen. For most people, there are some people that are super self-motivated. They can just it's fine, Most people are not. I'm not. When I'm comfortable, I just sleep
Yeah.
twice a day. It's just and and for the kids as well, because
Yeah. So
they,
objects at rest tend to stay at rest,
yes,
right?
definitely, and so I wanted them to experience both the movement of life and to see different things, different cultures, different foods, different people, and yes, some parents look at us and they're like, oh, they'll never have roots, and they'll never, the kids have to have something that is stable, and I agree with it, but I think that what people, we said our job as parents is to uh, provide the roots, but also the wings, right?
Yeah.
So I think people say, oh, if I'm going to be in one place, if I have a house, if we'll do the same thing, that's going to, create the roots. But I think family can be the roots. And so where you at with your family can be a root,
Yes.
but you can move with that around, which will also provide the wings. Um, I don't think you have to have a house in one place. You have to do the same thing all the time. Especially again with the worlds we're living in right now and their world tomorrow, which we don't even know if the U.S. will be the most amazing place, 20 years from now.
Right.
And we don't know
A
where
lot of instability, right?
and how world will be. So they'll have to be able to go new places, try new things. Maybe they'll go to Mars, maybe or just across a different state or across the ocean to a different country. Different languages, different all those things. Probably just gonna be more interlocked. The world's gonna be smaller and smaller, um, and the people who would be unable to do those moves and accept change and be agile, they won't have, in my opinion, an amazing, fulfilled life for the future.
For those kids who grow up practicing agility and being able to accept change, how is that going to help them? Do you feel with their financial journey?
Other things, because we don't even know what's going to be the best way to make money in the
Right.
future. Um, so the ability to say, okay, yeah, I did coding 20 years and I was very good at it, but now it's not necessary because computers can code themselves. And
Right.
so
Robots.
the ability to say, okay, I'm going to go into real estate. I'm going to learn how it works, and I'm going to do real estate. Or maybe they're in Portugal, they need something to do something, and so I'll
Right.
move there and I'll learn Portuguese, or maybe you won't even need to learn languages
Right.
in the near future because it's going to be automated translation, whatever.
Right.
Um, so we don't know, and I think when the way you make money now is not going to be the same in 20 years,
Right. So the
in 40
ability to
years.
shift between different income streams is probably something that they're going to need more and
Yeah,
more.
or even locations,
Yes.
physical locations that their skills or their passions will be needed in one place and not the other, or more valued in one
Hmm.
place than the other. And so you need to go where the value is, where you're needed, where you can provide value, because this is another thing a lot of people don't understand is usually um, your income or your financial streams are related to the value you bring to the table. There's no one pays for nothing. Yeah, it might be like, yeah, the minimum wage is maybe set by the government, but that's if you want minimum wage. But anything above that, which I'm not going to even go to my opinion about minimum wage, but anything above that, it's direct, the value you bring to the table. And it's not how hard you work, and it's not how punctual you are. It's the value you bring in. Because this is why there are
So for
people
for
that,
parents for parents listening, what does that mean? How do they help their children bring more value to the table?
so if so value can be, your abilities. So if you know how to do stuff very well, then somebody will want to pay for that. Another value is um, what you can learn about investments yourself. So if you know more tools, you can use more tools. They'll bring more value to you, which is, value is a two-way thing. But also, basically, the value, how to advance the value you bring to the table is, as I said, your ability to know stuff to do, but also your ability to learn new things and experience new things, and be the change. So even if you're an employee, okay, even if you're not a big manager or whatever, if you just come to work and like, okay, I'm just gonna do what I'm told, and this is it, then that's your value. That's You have a very flat value. Um, but if you come and you go to your manager or you go to the people you work with and like, hey, we can change that. We can do something about this, about that. When you go in the morning and you look at things, you want to be a little bit unsatisfied of what's going on, and so unsatisfied, and also believe you matter. Your value, your opinion matters. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not a manager. It's not my job. They'll never listen to me. It's never like that. Never. If you come with a good idea, if you have an ambition to do stuff, someone will listen. Someone will see this value. And by the way, and if not, if you're in a place that you do all those things and you're not appreciated, no one sees this value, move. This is where agility is super important. The ability to say that's not advancing me. You want to be happy. You want to advance yourself. If you do something that doesn't advance you, then you need to do something else. And you can do it, by the way, while you work. There's a lot of startups people develop while they do. There's a lot of side jobs you can do. There's investment you can do. You can buy real estate. We bought all our real estate working, and actually used that income, the value of that income, to actually create more value for ourselves. Because if you look at mortgages, for example, you usually put 20% down and you get the whole house. Um, so you can take 20% of what you have and bring a lot more on it. And with time, you'll own all of it. And this is one thing. Another thing is that I do a lot with my kids is negotiation skills.
Okay.
Um, a lot of parents would say, "Don't argue with me. This is it. This is what I told you to do it. Just do it." That I think this is a soul crasher, and I want my kids to a limit to argue, to present their reasoning about stuff. Kids have a lot of reasoning to do things. Sometimes you don't see it because we're quick to, like, don't do it. Like, yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, okay, it's stupid. But I want to, and I would say as well, many times, like, hey, don't do it. That's stupid. That's dangerous. That's okay to say that as a parent because we still, our main job is to keep them alive.
Right.
And
So you
but
give them opportunities to persuade you to present their cases.
yeah, and also just tell me what they were like when a lot of people. Sometimes you ask them, "What were you thinking?" But we don't actually want to hear what they were thinking. I actually want to hear what they're thinking. Like, this was super stupid. What? Why you
What
did
was
that?
going through your head?
What?
Yes.
I want to hear that. That's reasoning. It's important. Or if I do something and I tell them something, they don't want to do it. I like, fine. All right. So let's present an option here. What you suggest. Let's do a little bit of negotiation because negotiation is important. Nothing is face value in life. There's nothing is like, oh, this is it, and there's nothing I can do with it. You can do something about anything. It's just always you want to negotiate, you want to find a solution, you want to find ways, and that's important because a lot of people, when they go and even when they buy their house, so they'll go for a realtor and they'll do whatever the realtor tell them. And he's a professional. It's okay to trust them, but that's not how you actually get good deals. That's not actually how you understand what you're doing. If you don't understand a real estate transaction, so you just bought a house, that's a little bit of liability, it's a lot of hassle, and you didn't learn anything about it. What did you learn for your second house? What do you learn about real estate transactions? How it is done,
how involved are the kids in your real estate investments? I know that you guys do the renovations and everything. How involved are they?
They're very involved. We'll put them to work sometimes to put some doors and stuff, which is just good skills. But we talk a lot about this is one thing about the life we lead now, which is the full-time traveling, which our kids are, and we are around each other all the time. And around other people as well, which is another thing. Is in the regular settings of life, kids rarely hear or eavesdrop on adult conversations.
Yes.
Our kids hear it all the time. They hear us speak with contractors and with our guests, and me and Shirley discuss, what we want to do, why we want to do it, how it's whatever. They ask me, how much
exposure. They get exposure to all levels of running this vacation home business.
Yeah. And they'll ask me how much this house was, and how do you buy it, and how much we pay, and I'll tell them.
You'll tell them the numbers. They know the numbers.
Yeah, I'll tell them the numbers and whatever, and they're like, how much all of it's worth, and I'm like, millions of dollars, and they're like, for them it doesn't mean anything,
Right.
And then because you also want them to be somewhat, that's the next thing that is very hard to do is how you have, how you teach kids to be responsible with money. And I can't teach that because I'm not very responsible with money. I'm very good at investing it, which is, by the way, one reason I started buying real estate is because I knew about myself that when I have money, I spend it. And
so you prefer to have it invested. Got it. Yep.
Yeah, because when you put it in the house, you automatically save the money because it's in the house. You can spend it. It grows. The equity goes every year. You pay your mortgage, so you pay your equity is like savings. You pay a little bit, to buy this house. It's chunks of buying. So that's one way not to spend money when you invest it in stuff. Because if you have it in your bank, you have it in your pocket,
It's gonna go.
it's going. And this is what I know about myself. But I do believe kids need to know the value of things and how much you have to work for it and how much stuff works. But with that says, I also I'll buy them a lot of things because I believe there's some things like if my kid's interested in gaming or in coding and I have the money to do it, I'll buy a very good computer
Yeah.
because this is a tool for him to execute, his skills and his passion. And
Yeah.
it's
And
and
backstory, if I'm not mistaken, Itai had to build that computer.
it did have to be.
So
We built it together. Yeah,
you gotta earn that computer. You gotta put in the work.
yeah.
Two
Which was
questions.
also nice. Like we were like researching the parts and discussing. It was expensive, and it's okay to say, "Hey, it's expensive," and yes, I buy it, and it's
Mhm.
expensive. But he knows, the different thing and why we buy expensive, parts of the computer because it will work better and whatever, and the tools you need to do with it. And when you buy tools, you want it to be very good,
Okay.
usually.
Do the kids get an allowance? Or
Uh,
or do they have do you guys help them create opportunities for earning money, or is it allowance
yes.
based?
No, they don't get allowance at this point. They do get opportunities to earn money. So when they do stuff, we'll pay them. Um, Sometimes even we have our Instagram, which is very good, and sometimes Shirley will sell photos, and then they'll get $10 per photo they're in, and which is a
Mhm.
good incentive for them to smile when they need to, but also it's because they are part of it. Like we made money out of something you were part of. You
Yeah.
deserve to get some of it. But also when they do things and they try to sometimes have their own businesses, which is another thing I think I talked about in that. Um, so kids, they need to think in their head and imagine businesses more importantly than actually make them.
All
Making
right.
a business profitable is hard. It's hard. It's hard even when as an adult. Um, and but playing make believe about making a business is good enough. So if you come with crazy ideas and they do something about it, like they do a list or they research a little bit and then do nothing about it, it's fine.
Why do
It's
you find
fine
that to be an effective exercise?
because it makes you think about business. It's like, okay, I want to make money. How we make money, and even if it's like so, Ella and her friends said, okay, we're gonna do bracelet and we sell them online, and they play with it a little bit, and then they realize they can't make any money out of it. But the idea is what's involved, and okay, we need to buy materials, and we need a website, and we need to how people pay, and then how you ship. So the thinking about it's a make believe, and this is how kids learn anything almost in life.
Right.
That's the make believe. So when they play with dolls or they build Legos, it's all the same. But you also have to practice that. Let them like, okay, how we can make money, even if they don't make any money out of it, even if they don't follow through at all about it. Just the thinking about it, it's important.
Okay.
And by the way, as an adult too, everything I say here about kids works with adults amazingly.
Yeah.
Like if you like even just imagine what you,
Somehow it feels like almost easier said than done with adults, right? Because we're
yeah,
already kind of in our mindset all set, and the kids, they have that sort of ability to just run with ideas and
yeah,
you know
yeah.
out of
And
the box.
and we also sometimes we limit ourselves because we know what's possible. And we're
Right.
like, so this is a stupid business, we can do it. But kids can they imagine they can make stupid businesses. It's fine,
Yes, they
because
have that
it's in their head.
privilege.
Yeah.
Question. All right, question, Erez.
Yeah.
So you're saying teach your kids about the stock market, about mortgages, about loans, real estate, retail. how does a parent go about doing that if the parent doesn't have prior knowledge about these things? So are there resources out there that you've bumped into that parents can use to either outsource or to teach the children something? How does a parent teach a child something that they don't know themselves?
First of all, as an adult, you want to know those things. It's important, again, to advance yourself in life financially.
So,
And
so parents should be on their own financial education journey,
yeah, definitely.
regardless.
Like just play with it, and then read a book, watch YouTube videos, ask a friend. Like, someone that have two houses. Like, ask them, how did you buy two houses? And you don't have to know someone that has 20 houses. Um, Go on Facebook groups that just talk about it. It's fine. Like, there's Facebook group for how to invest in Airbnb, like short-term vacation rentals. Even if you don't want to do it, it's interesting to read what people ask and the answers, or join groups like your group. But also understand, like, okay, how do you buy a house? Ask yourself. I think people needs to be a little bit curious about, okay, I don't have a house right now, or I don't have a business, or I don't invest in the stock market, but how you do it? Like, start with the simple things. What are the components of investing in the stock market? Do I download just Robinhood or whatever app and start investing it? Do I read a book? Do I watch YouTube? Do I go listen to podcasts? Um, do I just try? Or how do you
Right.
buy a house? Call a realtor and ask, like, hey, say I want to buy a house. What do I need? And people will tell you
And
usually.
then bring your child along for the ride,
Yeah,
for the
definitely,
learning.
definitely. Yeah,
Eras, you say last thing on my list is understanding the difference between making money and earning money. Can you talk about that
yes.
before we wrap up today? So what is this? What is this difference between making money and earning money, and why is it important that we clarify that for our children, and how to best do that?
So earning money is when someone pays you to do something, and that's directly related to both your skills, your time, your abilities, and the market around you. So this is how much you can earn for a job that you do for someone else. Making money is where is creating it, or creating value. And this is, for example, when you invest in the real estate or stock market, or you build a business, and that usually is a, I don't know if it's untied, but it's not directly related to your time, efforts, and skills. Because I'm talking with you right now, and while I do that, just
Your
having
houses are
fun,
earning
having a
money.
conversation, yeah, someone will just book now and pay me, $5,000 to stay here for a week vacation in Destin in the summer. Or just this morning, the cryptocurrency went 10%, and the stock market went up. So you can make 5 6 thousand $1 million. That depends how much you do,
Yeah.
without putting the time into it. Or right now, when I have my houses in Destin, I put 4 hours a week managing them, working in it, and I get paid more than a full time, very good job
Yeah.
for it. And I can travel, I can do other things, I can think about other ideas. There's a saying in Hebrew. Sometimes when you work, you're too busy to make money,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Sometimes you just need the time to think about different
Right. How
businesses
to
and
create
things.
systems. Right.
Yeah.
Systems to
And
earn money for you.
so making money is what you want to eventually have, but you can definitely use earning money to build the money making channels.
Yeah.
Again, in the US especially, if you have an okay job and above, so many things you can use to leverage it, to invest it, to make more money passively for yourself, for your kids. Then you can travel. And by the way, travel is one thing that is very essential to a lot of those things. Even if you don't travel full time like us, which you know as well that can easily be done. You don't have to be super rich or
Right.
whatever to do it. Um, uh, Travel to different places, different countries. Step out of your comfort zone. It's important for you. It's important for your kids' future more than anything. More than they can miss few days in class. Doesn't make it's this year actually teaches us how school is. We don't really need all of it, but uh, seeing different things, being different places, talking to different people is all important um, to living successful life, happy, successful life, in my opinion.
Wow, Erez, you have given us so many pearls of wisdom here. I don't even know where to start. You talked to us about how to teach our children the difference between making and earning money. You spoke to us about how being good at school sometimes can hurt your chances of being financially successful, about the importance of teaching our kids agility and how to accept change, about risk taking, about teaching kids about stock market, mortgages, loans, real estate, retail, and teaching ourselves these very, very important skills that are not taught anywhere. Apparently, this is not, society does not have an interest in empowering us with financial education. This is on us, parents, and that was very important. You spoke about mind benders and about taking kids into different situations and asking them how to improve it and how to fix these situations. Um, um, how to come up with good ideas, and if you don't feel appreciated, know when to move on. How to teach our children negotiation skills, instead of saying don't argue with me, saying what were you thinking and really listening to what they were thinking. You were talking about how kids need to imagine businesses and how to play make believe is good enough. They don't have to do the follow through, certainly not in the young ages. That was wonderful. And you spoke about Ella's bracelet business and the whole thinking process behind that. And I think the bottom line, financial education for the parent and the child, perhaps in parallel, if you do not have that knowledge, is very, very important to take on.
Yeah.
Any last takeaway about teaching children financial literacy, investments, or resilience before
Yes.
we end up?
So there's a few resources like YouTube is awesome, really, and then sometimes you're like your kids watch YouTube all day. Um, Find something that is interesting about money, science, something even just to spark their minds about opportunities, um, and have them watch that on YouTube, and then they because you can change their YouTube because YouTube keeps suggesting stuff. So if you actually choose a few good things, it will, and they will watch it. Kids just watch everything you put in front of them, and that's also a nice way to kind of take that watching YouTube all day to something very positive. By the way, very positive. Sometimes there's very positive things for adults too. Um,
Yes.
there's places like Outschool,
Yes.
which I don't know if people know that they have. By the way, have wonderful classes about the stock market and different businesses. Just even familiar with different businesses. Or when you travel, go to a farm, go to an ice cream shop, and go to wherever you go and think about how what's the operation, or if you can talk with people, um, and when stuff gonna go back and open everything. There's some restaurants that will actually let you, if you call them and you ask, they'll let you go into their kitchen and talk with the chef and all kind of things like that you can do. Just introduce how stuff works.
I would
Um,
say that's
but
probably, I think my biggest takeaway from the conversation with you and from our full-time travel is letting the kids talk to as many people about as many different experiences as possible. The
yeah,
learning is so much more powerful than any textbook, I think, uh, that they will,
yeah.
or learning in a classroom. So this is really, really terrific. Eris, thank you so much. So many pearls of wisdom for parents to take away from here. If parents want to reach out to you and connect with you, where can they do that online?
We're on Instagram, Zula Life, Zula Life. That's on Instagram and Facebook. That's mainly Shirley is doing that. That's her thing. But that's where we, follow our travels and stuff we do. We have our vacation homes at zulabeach.com. If you want to see our vacation homes. And then if you want to reach out to me directly, you can on Facebook or you can even email me. And Sigal, you can share my email. It's fine.
Terrific.
And if you have any questions or you have business ideas that you want to
Reach
join
out.
venture on,
Yeah, reach
yeah,
out
we
to
like
Erez.
that.
And I
Yes.
will share with you that I have seen Erez and Shirley's vacation homes, and they are, go check them out online, check them out in real life. There's so much to learn from this awesome entrepreneur couple. Thank you, Erez, for sharing this time and space with me, and to be continued, hopefully, and learn so much more from you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.